Right, yogi. So restorative fish position, set up on your blocks, and just taking a minute here to really connect to your body more than normal, to shift into a mind state different than maybe your morning, to connect to your breathing. Nice big inhale into the abdomen, middle ribs, back, and chest, even holding the breath. And a nice slow exhale. Continuing with last breath or two. Maybe adding your mantra, your prayer, your deep aspects of your inner practice. I'm going to move forward. Please take your time. If your head's on the floor or kind of lower than your chest, maybe you use your hands to lift your head. Maybe you use your hands to kind of assist your knees together. You're helping your body up out of this big position. Also, feel free to hold a little bit longer, okay? We will remove the block slowly, lay on our back. Taking a moment just to maybe release the legs. Thinking a moving warm-up, yogis, all right? I'm going to run through some things here. Try to just listen, close your eyes, and feel your body. A full body stretch to start practice here. Just kind of reaching to the back of the room, just like you might in a sun salutation. Keep breathing nice and deep into your tightness. Start to move here, rolling out the ankles and wrists. Again, I'm just going to move through. You do not need to move at my pace, guys. Make it personal. Knees into chest. If I start to tuck the chin, lift the hips a little more, it's like my cat position that we do all the time. Okay? Please take your time. Here, maybe drawing some circles with your knees, straightening and bending your knees like a knee, hamstring, quad floss. Even opening and closing the knees a little bit, okay? Start to explore in the body, think warm up, all right? Continuing, left leg will release, right knee will stay into the chest. And what I'm gonna do here is switch sides, and then I'm gonna alternate with focusing a little bit more movement. So notice this foot is in like a child pose, this leg is in like a squat position. What I'm gonna do is press my lower back down and start to kind of alternate here. Okay. A little bit easier is to bring the leg up as opposed to forward, right? If I go forward, there's more strain on that hip flexor. Okay, continuing in our warm up here, the feet are gonna go wide, the knees are now bent to the sky, and I'm gonna rock those hips side to side. So hip rotation, take a few times here, feeling this. And I'm noticing if one side is a little extra tight, maybe a deep breath holding that side, maybe stretching your arms to the back once again here with the hip rotation. Continuing, yogis. Legs will release. I'm kind of moving a little bit faster today, guys. I'm rolling onto the right side. I want to pad my head with my block, my hand. All right, so good posture here, right? Nice long body. You can bend your bottom knee. Now it just starts by some lateral leg lifts, okay? Think about really feeling your leg. I'm pulling my belly in. I'm actually pressing my right ankle, knee, hip down a little to ground. I'm going up and down. Now, what I really want to work on here, guys, bringing the leg forward and a nice leg circle. Okay, we do leg circles standing. We do them in tabletop, okay? I'm turning the toes up a little. If I bend the knee, maybe a little bit easier circling the knee in space, as opposed to straightening the leg where the foot is drawing the circle. I could also swing my leg in front of me, back, kind of bringing the knee into the chest. Make sure you pad your neck, yogis, all right? Don't strain the neck here. Pull the belly in a little. Last moments here. I'm switching directions if I haven't. Remember that bigger circles tend to be a little more challenging on the body. So does faster movement, right? So slower, smaller circles may be a little easier. I will move forward. Let's keep going. Second side. Roll onto your left. Maybe your left arm in front of you. Left knee is bent. I'm in a tall posture. I'm not curled into a little ball. Lateral leg lifts. Circles. You can bring the leg forward and back, kind of like a bridge or a knee into chest, three-legged dog, right? Feel the glute and the hip flexor here. Pull the belly in, core activation and stability as we're working your hip. And for me, I'm noticing my right hip feels a lot kind of tighter and achier. So I was trying to do a little extra on the right for me. Try to notice your body's conditions and then apply. A little different, yogis. Remember I said you'll need a block. Let's meet on the back, kind of shake that out, okay? Have your block handy. One round of bridges only, all right? So pressing your lower back down. Let's slowly lift our hips. Remember, this is kind of more for your core now, the cat-cow. I posterior tilt here, okay? Slowly articulate the body down. One round of bridges. Let's really get that posterior body turning on a little bit more. I'm slowly peeling the back up vertebrae by vertebrae. The best yogi is connecting to their body the most. Mind to body practice. Mind to muscle. Mind to breathing. You know, just because you're good at gymnastics doesn't mean that you're good at yoga at all, right? Yogis are really excellent at presence and establishing a connection between the conscious awareness and the layers of themselves. They're good at studying themselves subjectively and objectively. Try to do a good amount of bridges, right? You know, you're looking at least 12 here, nice and slow, maybe with some pulses. You feel good, you could add a single leg variation, angled version, a figure 4 version. Right? Don't be shy to change it because we all need it different, but it's tricky, yogis. You know, too often amateur exercisers are always trying to make exercise easier. Amateurs, you know, they want the easy path, right? You know, there's a joke in fitness. If you can come up with a pill that gives you all the effects of exercise, you're going to be the richest person in history. Everyone wants the magic cure, the magic fix. It's work, yogis, creating a healthy body. There's no way around it. It's a lot of work, right? To keep your body optimized. It's effort, okay? We're not trying to make it easier. We're not doing only the exercises we like. If you take that approach, I don't care how much you exercise, you are an amateur. It's the mind state that must evolve, right? I know people have been exercising 30, 40 years, but they still will only do what they like, right? So they are missing a lot because what we need is often quite difficult for us, right? Let's keep going, guys. I got one more for you here. All right, grab your block. So this is a little like just adding what we've done, okay? I'm gonna take that block. If you don't have a block, you could just push with your hand. I'm gonna put that block between my left knee and my elbow. And I'm just gonna squeeze that for just a little core work. Now you could stay here, right? Your knees are stacked over your hips. Boom, it's like I'm in tabletop almost, right? If I want a little more, guys, I could lift the shoulders. Now that is a spinal flexion. Crunches are totally safe unless you have a current back injury, all right? If you want a little bit more, you can inhale your right leg forward, exhale it back in. Inhale the right leg, right arm forward, exhale it in. So as I'm statically holding tension, one is dynamically lengthening and shortening, right? You know, just like you might hold a bag, dynamic tension in one arm, okay, others moving a little more. So we're holding one side. And an option to kind of crunch in and or leg lever. You guys know leg lever, you guys know spinal flexion. Those are both add-ons, okay? Please take your time. I won't let you hold it too long. We're about to make our way off the ground here. Right knee, right elbow, squeeze block, maybe just pausing here, right? So this is more beginner, okay? Just squeezing. Adding a little lift in the chest would be more abdominal contraction. Keep your lower back down is the key, don't forget. Inhale, leg forward. Exhale, leg in. Inhale, leg forward. Same as we did earlier, right? Now more active quality. Make sure, you know, if your neck hurts, remember, we're always trying to notice where we're straining the body unnecessarily. As we have to work the body, we're also looking self-care. Exercise can be very hard on your body. Let's not unnecessarily, unconsciously beat it up too. So that has to do with form, resting, where you need, and noticing where you tend to strain. Like the neck is a big one in a lot of these positions. Now, I do want you to take your time. You're kind of just doing your thing. You got one more little challenge. All this is cat pose, yogis, right? You love cat-cow and mobility, but what about strength? We want our joints stable, okay? Spinal flexion is totally safe and needed. Both knees, both elbows. Now, you could just go here, lower back down. You want a little extra, I lift the hips. I lift the hips. I want a little more, I lift the shoulders and the hips. Okay, so I'm going deeper into my squeeze into the block. I'm trying to crush this block with my abs and my pelvic floor is squeezing up. Don't forget your pelvic floor, your perineum, your kegel. Okay, again, you may have to rest your neck if you need. Last moments there. As you're getting better at it, you're going to reach your block, your shins and your arms more forward. Okay, so just giving you a couple different exercises there, yogis. Yep, you're just kind of squeezing the block, holding that tension. Don't forget pelvic floor, yogis, okay? When you're done, take a little release. Shake it out a little bit. I want you to do a Google search. Look up the chronic, what happens when my pelvic floor gets chronically weak? My perineum, kegel, your anus too. Look it up. You will be scared. And you will really, you know, there's nothing better than fear as a good motivator, probably. And if you look up what happens to your body when your pelvic floor is atrophied, that will scare you probably, hopefully, and you will really remember pelvic floor, because I say it constantly to you guys, and I don't know if you're doing it. So I want you to do some research, add your education of why we're doing this. And that will also be an inspiration, the information, okay? Let's keep going, guys. Let's rock forward and back. Let's make our way up to a seated position. Some of you are still doing the core. I'm just kind of moving forward through these exercises, and you're making it your own, picking your spots for extra work. A little happy baby into rocking forward and back. Let's meet up in the tabletop please take your time getting here, okay? Now I'm thinking a little bit more kind of like movement now. Our spine does have this curvature, right? I've often said this idea like, if you take it out of context, it's completely wrong, right? Like you're trying to almost take hypercurvatures out of your body, but also work curvature, right? So it all starts with cat-cow, right? And one of our favorite things that we got to be careful not to overdo. But another one here, guys, is the hip circling. Okay, remember the spine has these planes of movement, side, side, forward, back, rotation, but it has this other big one. It's almost like a combination where the joints create like a whole circling pattern, right? So that is kind of a unique thing. It's really good to do regularly. Okay, and I'm going to give you a wrist stretch here, guys, but I really want to work the spinal rolling today. All right, this is classic Hatha yoga. It is not easy if you're new. It is cat-cow taken further. If you want to watch me, I'll start on the knees. I'm going to start with my cat pose. Remember, like a scared cat, I round the back. Some people call it camel. Now watch what I do. I shift forward, I shift the chest forward, and there's my cow. So that is a spinal extension and anterior tilt. Watch the hips and the spine. I tuck the tailbone, I tuck the chin, I'm in a low plank on the knees, back in my cat spinal flexion. Then I go to my cobra, all right? This is now back in anterior tilt. Cow, chin will lift. Watch. Cat. Cow. Cat. Cow with hip extension. Cat. Okay? So if you're ready, I want to see you do our articulation of the spinal curvature, just not so stiff like we're always doing. Okay? If you'd like, down dog, I'm going to give you time to practice this today. I want you to close your eyes. You're going to inhale. Now I'm showing further. Plank with posterior tilt, protraction, spinal flexion. Okay? Knees are going to go down. Cow. Anahata. Really nice neck therapeutic. On the knees, cat. On the knees, cow, cobra. Back through plank with the spinal flexion, cat. Cow. Cat. Cow. Cat. Cow. Cat. Cow. Spinal rolling yogis. We have to be very careful because we don't want the spine and the core to get too stiff from rigid strengthening. Now this is very forward and back, all right? All you gotta do is try, right? No one is good at this when they start. Very fit people are horrible at this. Think cat-cow, taken further through more complex styles, okay? We wanna take what we're doing in basics and then flip it so it's new to your brain again. Remember, it is pretty much proven. A new movement pattern is tantamount to learning something new. You create a new neural synapse. Your brain grows. We don't just want to think physical yogis. We're looking at digestive tract, nervous system, endocrine, your hormones. We want to think bones, not just muscles. We want to think fascia. We have strategies for all these kind of system healing development, right? It's spinal rolling, okay? Last few moments here. Does it make sense? I can see a few of you. The stiff dog to the stiff plank to the stiff cobra, it's just more beginner yogis. We want more of this articulation. Like no one's walking around too stiff in life. You're kind of like, posture's never static, right? We work this stiff posture, but it's never like that in life. life is never really symmetrical either. You're always in this like asymmetrical movement patterns, right? As one front body is shortening, the other back is shortening, and then the twist is like asymmetrical, and you're kind of like this all day, and like the articulations. And we want to remember that as we train, functional training means, how does my body work in my life? Can I exercise in a way that's enhancing my lifestyle function, right? Like squats and like hinges are great, but you don't really do that all day. You walk and you articulate. I'm going to keep you going, guys. All right? Now, please take your time. Meet me in down dog. I'm just going to move forward. Now, I do want a side body stretch. So this is a lateral flexion and a lateral tilt. That was big anterior posterior lines. So I'm going to go side bodies. Now, it's not plank. It's dog. I lift the heels high. I drop the heels to the right. So my hands are pressing down, and I relax the neck. Inhale, heels center over to the left. I instantly notice my left side way tighter through the lat, right? So I'm going to focus on my left side more. Drop in to a mind-body connection meditation and use your breathing. Not using your breathing in exercise, strength, it's like going fishing and not bringing your pole. It's your tool to yield the results. You go fishing 100 times without a pole, you might catch one fish with your hands or hit it with a rock. But the tool enhances what you're there for, to make your body feel better. Breathing is one of your best tools, okay? We're not done here, guys, all right? Let's keep going. We're in down dog. Shift forward to plank. Now we'll hold a nice plank. Only one today. Watch what I do. Right leg rises, pause. This is the walking pattern. Hip flexor with the glute. Left foot rises, pause. If you want more, don't be shy. A balancing style. So we're in more unstable. Don't forget, you could do it on the knee. The bird dog, one of the McGill Big Three. I'm taking a little bit more of a strength, athletic approach with the previous options. So first kind of big unstable moment there. Hovering a foot, really getting into the glute. Remember, that's hip extension against posterior tilt. Remember, we have pelvic tilt, intention, and awareness in every single exercise. With pelvic floor, we're connecting pelvic floor, deep transverse abdomen pull-in, and pelvic tilt.
I know the anatomy language can be quite confusing, and you don't understand it, but each time you're learning, you're playing, oh, I heard that word again. Oh yeah, that, we're just building, right? It takes time and repetition of hearing this stuff, feeling it in the body, okay? So take your time. We're going to meet back in dog. It looks like a lot of you are resting. You're working to build strength, right? So you're training till failure. You're going to walk your feet to the front of your mat, taking your little forward bend. And now I want to do a nice kind of like mobility drill. Now, think of this one like your hips. Remember the spinal mobility rolling? There is hips there too, but I want to do the squat and the hinge together, then it's lunge time, okay? So it looks like this, yogis. Take your time meeting me. Boom. The chair. Let's call it air squatting. Remember, you can always add in extra squats if you really are calling for squats. You don't need to do them all every day, yogis. I'd like you to kind of feel your body and apply rather than just listen to my generic teaching. I teach a well-rounded class. This is called air squatting, good form. Feet can be slightly turned out. Feet are kind of symmetrical to start. Knees over toes, let's say, butt dropping down and back. Belly in pelvic floor. Now what you do is you stand up, you back bend a little to stretch your hip flexors, hip extension, bridge, right? Tuck tailbone, lift chest. So your butt and your thighs engage.
Your muscles are designed to activate, yogis. Stretching is kind of secondary if they don't activate well. Hinge, halfway forward. So this is our drill, we've done it before. Squat, chair, cobra, standing today, okay? Row, elbows back, tuck tailbone, hips forward, chest lifts. Shorten posterior chain. Hinge, tension in the posterior chain. Squat. Pull arms, so turn on your butt, shorten your back, spinal extension, posterior tilt, engage thighs, pull your arms back. Hinge. Squat. Chair. Back bend, forward bend, chair. Last few tries. I love this hip mobility drill, kind of putting some of our fundamentals together, okay? Remember, extra emphasis where you need, maybe you need that hamstring tension. We kind of did this on the back and, hamstring tension is really important, yogis. Hamstring is superficial back line, it's really affecting the lower back directly. You got tight hamstrings, tight lower back, right? So anytime my back hurts, hamstring tensions is a big immediate thought. My back hurts, I think about strengthening my back, right? I don't stretch. Let's keep going, all right? Meet me up in standing. Let's get to balance, left knee lifts. I'm just moving forward, transverse abdominis practice. Arms go up. Take a breath or 3 here. Now, option to stay here. I'm really lifting the left knee. Now, yogis, you can compensate. You tilt. Drop the left sit bone down a little bit and lift from the hip flexor. Quad, butt. Okay, option to stay here, or we'll take a nice twist. Right hand go on the left thigh, turn from the core. Now try to feel the stabilizers of the foot and ankle and knee running up the phasic thighs, glutes, hip flexor, okay? Through the transverse abdominis, through the obliques, okay? Let's keep going. Inhale, arms high, left foot to the back of your mat. It's still hip flexor, but in a different way. Left foot at the back of your mat. Lunge, arms high. Okay, bend the front knee, tuck the tailbone. Another twist, yogis, all right? Big inhale, hands in prayer. Nice and slow, we'll hinge and turn. Now we're going a little bit bigger with the range now. Left elbow, right knee, lift the chest. If you feel good, let's spread the arms. Okay, if you'd like, you could go arm around the back. If you need easier, you're here. Lunging, yogis, it's a fundamental. At least once a week, I'm doing resisted lunges, whether it's fast twitch jumping, kettlebell carries, Bulgarian lunge, one-legged lunging. I'm doing that lunge at least once a week. Squat tends to be twice a week for me. I tend to put squats for me in front of lunges, but that changes, okay? Let's go, stand up, left knee lifts, and left foot down. Give it a shake after your standing balance and your lunge. So I'm trying to go like kind of forward and back in the hips, adding the rotation of the core now, okay? We did some laterals for the hips and the core. Let's go, right knee lifts, arms up. Yogis, transverse is those deep layer of abdominal muscles I mentioned earlier. Remember, when a muscle gets stuck long, it tends to kind of lengthen, right? And stuck short, the muscle hugs in more, okay? So try to pull the belly in here, almost so much the lower abdomen that cramps. Try to lift the ribs up, the breath up, the crown and arms up. Now you can stay here or add that twist. You guys know this, we do this one a lot, all right? Think about like one leg is in the hip flexor and you're kind of like turning, right, around the kitchen. One is flexion, one is pushing off from the extension. The core is rotating. Now, please take your time. Meet me in the lunge. Inhale here. Right foot slowly to the back of your mat. Boom. All right, couple breaths. Now this leg is in back. Still hip flexor though. Okay, couple breaths in your lunge. Option to add your twist. Now bent over twist. It's kind of like bicycling, right? Like bringing the elbow to the knee. Okay, but the back is working. So it's almost like we're resisting rounding, okay? Whereas the bicycle is the rounding. Spread your arms, drop your back knee. How can you do it for your body? Don't trust yoga teacher too much. He sounds like he knows what he's talking about, but question yogis, question. Listen to your body, okay? What you see in the experts of anatomy, you know, they're still learning, discovering things that, you know, are opposite ideas what we thought 20, 30 years ago, you know, that we're enhancing our knowledge still about the body, the experts, and it's, you know, if you're too sure about something, you know, science keeps showing us there's evidence on both sides of all these ideas of how we condition our body. And as you're doing certain trainings, your situation and condition of your body is changing, thus your programs should change. Okay, so if you keep doing it the same, it can look the same superficially. Rise up, stand up, please, and shake it out. I do want to strengthen our ankles, yogis. A couple different simple ways. Simple as calf raises. We just got into those hip flexors. The quads are working in your lunge, right? So here we go. I'm lifting the heels. Now this is for our posterior leg, right? You know, the whole ankle has to work, but mainly the back of the ankle, okay? If you want a little more, I like to add the walking. Now just be easy, just constrain the foot. You don't realize that, you know, walking around with your heels lifted is pretty hard on the foot if you're new to it, okay? So I'm just lifting my heels. If I want a little bit more, I do a single leg calf raise. We don't do this enough, yogis. We want really strong ankles, okay? So now I'm doing a single leg calf raise. If I wanted a lot and I had a stair next to me, I could put the ball of the foot on the stair. The heel will drop below the stair. Now that's more risky because, you know, I'd probably start with double leg. I could also do like a toe squat or a bent knee walk. So it's almost like I'm walking. I could go a little side to side. We're just having some fun. It's called ankle reactivity too, right? We don't do enough jump, making those ankles react then. Look at this one. You know, we want to keep an open mind, yogis. I've often said, I have my fitness friends and I have my yogi friends. I work out with both of them. My fitness friends, they want to do like every movement possible. Like we're creating, when we're exercising together, we do these circuits and we each create one and we go through it together. You know, the yogis are like more closed-minded when it comes to training the body. They think they always just have to hold this and that. The yogis are never obsessed with the body. Let's learn from the people who are obsessed and bring that into our practice, okay? We're done with the calf. I want to continue the back line. Stay focused. Standing yoga is almost done. Okay, we're going to hit the arms again. Watch me here. This one's tricky, guys, okay? You shake it out. Hamstring. If you want to lay on your back and do sliding bridges, nice. That's another option. Or we did the hinge warm-up. Knee flexion. Now, we don't have weights, so we got to contract that muscle well. We can't get tension too well in this one, okay? Watch me here. I don't want this. I want to tuck my tailbone, bring my knee back, point my toe. And I'm going to pulse my heel to my butt. Pulse, pulse, hold, lower halfway. Pulse. Oh, look at my knee wants to go forward. I'm trying to make it easier. No good. I don't want to compensate. I want to tuck my tailbone, posterior tilt. Knee back, posterior tilt, knee back. So there's the glute in the upper hamstring. That's the posterior tilt and the hip extension. Femur back, pulse. Yogis, this one should hurt a little bit. Again, you know, exercise is work. Not all pain is created equal. Contracting a muscle strong does hurt a little bit in a good way. You know, athletes, guys, for performance, we train them to contract muscles until they hurt a lot. They're like, athletes are like learning to deal with pain, right? And you can too. All right? Take a moment to shake it out. I'm only going to do one round of the calf up through the hamstring. All right? And don't worry, we're going to stretch out your posterior chain well. Okay? Second side. Let's keep going. Class is going to be over soon. Don't let this happen, guys. Don't let this happen. Good posture. Knees align. Abdomen in. Pelvic floor up. Knee back. Pulse. Give me some time here.
So what we're going to do, you take your time here, okay? I'm going to do one more thing up here, and then we're going to come down. We're going to do fallen triangle today. So groin, a little more side body, a little more arms, all right? You're almost done now. Stay focused. Shake it out in between. Yogis, you need the exercises the most that you're not good at and you're not comfortable with. You don't need what you're good at. That's called plateauing. And you see all these people, they're like, I do the same exercise every day for 20 years and I just kind of reach this level. The brain doesn't have to work anymore. And, you know, we want exercise to work your mind also, okay? Exercise has to be emotional. That's the real trigger for change. Listen, guys, open your legs wide. Let's get the straddle going. Looks like everyone's done, okay? Now, take your time here. I want to get some dynamic movement in the rotation. Remember our hip rotation, guys? I want to get into the final squat here, okay? Now, this is squat to lunge, all right? We did like a hinge to lunge. We should do this one a little bit more. Now, it's not resisted, so I need you to really kind of slow down your mind here and feel. My right hip turns in, and I turn to the left a little. Right hip turns out, left hip turns in. Now, athletes, it's like fast, right? Boom. Sometimes if you're working with a trainer, they can slowly resist you, right? So if I was working with you one-on-one, as you're going back, I can slightly resist your rotation, right? I can also do it with bands. We don't have that, yogis. So you got to slow down your mind and feel that body. That's your practice. Connect your mind to your body more. The neurological relationship, mind to muscle, is enhancing through focus. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm feeling in here rotating. Now, you don't need to be too far either. You can like get in a little bit. You know, we do it like this in warrior, right? So you can kind of take a warrior 2, if you prefer today. Okay, we're gonna do that on. You can do that on Saturday. Okay, triangle is similar. Look, triangle's cool too because you get the tilt. If you want to do a little bit of that, kind of did that earlier. These are all can work, yogis, right? You can also do. I love this one here, guys, where you're rotating the hips. Look at that. So it's like I'm going a half moon. Just giving you some creative options where I'm here open and I turn down. I'm turning the toes and the chest this way. I want you to have some fun in your practice and be able to make choices. I don't want to tell you exactly what to do, yogis. I want you to practice being your own leader. Recognizing how there's a lot of choices, just like the calf raises, okay? Now, I'm going to kind of switch sides. If you're doing something on that one side, I started you here. I had you do it like this.
I've had you go down, which we already kind of did, this, down, right? I've had you go up. We want a very capable moving body. A body that can't move is losing function. Not just strength, not just flexibility, not just mobility, stability. Many categories we're all working. Last moments here. This is going to be my last standing exercise for today, guys. Okay? Now, we got options here, yogis. I want you to make your way to the front of your mat. We're going to take our time making our way down to the ground. It looks like a lot of these are done. Who I can see, I'm just moving forward when I see you guys kind of neutralize. You inhale, arms high, maybe a little front anterior tension. And then the exhale, the nice forward bend, okay? Nice symmetrical forward and back neutralizer. Okay, that was very asymmetrical. High plank and low plank. So now we're gonna go for, let's call it peak arm, and we're gonna go for the groin today, okay? Your adductors. It's not strong on a lot of us, so be easy. So I'm gonna do the fallen triangle. If you're new, watch me here, right? So you're on the hands, you're in plank. Watch what happens. My right arm goes high, my right heel seals down, the left foot goes in front. So we'll have this be a focus today. The groin, guys, the inner right thigh. I drop the hips down, I use my right thigh to lift a few inches. So that's an abduct. That's an adduct in the right thigh. So it's dynamic. If you need, you could be on the forearm, right? Now just notice, yogis, if I go here, it's not much groin. Look, soft. If I go here, it's not much groin. It's the opposite, okay? It's not, you know, groin, if you want to try non-resisted, looks like this. I could go here too for the horizontal plane. But it's a little easy, yogis, you know, to go here. We want to try to add resistance. Resistance training is proven to build strength that good, right? Body weight training a little more tricky. Adding weights, okay? So we're doing our fallen triangle. I want to see 2 rounds today. If you'd rather do an inversion, a handstand, a headstand, a forearm stand, feel free. I'm going to switch sides. If you know you're going with me here, again, the left arm, the right hand would go down, which would bring the right foot in front of me. That creates that inner tension there. So a lot of stuff happening, yogis. Core stability, pelvic, a lot of arm. Make sure you're gripping your hands. Engaging the hand will help protect your wrist. Don't be lazy in your fingers. Hasta bandha. The same thing, pelvic floor protecting, abdomen protecting, the hand engaging is protecting.
Fallen triangle work today, guys, as a focus. I want the inner thigh to be the focused. What's another way you can train your inner thighs, right? I love to do this one. Think pigeon. But notice to get the inner thigh, don't just go straight up, even though that does get some of the inner thigh, right? I kind of have to bring the inner thigh up for a little bit more, right? Another way is this. It's like pigeon, same thing, right? I lift the inner thigh up here, inner thigh up here, right? So again, many ways you can try to train your inner thigh. This is pigeon. This is the hovering pigeon where the inner thigh has to activate more. I like fallen triangle a little better. It's more of that neutral straight leg adduction, tension and contraction. Very simple way could be like this. This is inner thigh tension. Squeezing your block is a very common way we do it, okay? Last moments here, guys. Ideally, you get about 2 rounds minimum. 1 round, if we're going for strength, maybe not enough. Repeat the signal again. Emphasis on weaker side. Remember, a lot of our exercises are just fundamentals, right? Repeating these foundational movements and body awareness. And then half of it's kind of like, what haven't we been doing? What am I not good at? What did Peter Attia say? Your exercise should scare you once or twice a week. He's like my favorite doctor. A lot of information I get. If you don't know his podcast, The Drive, he's famous. He used to be based out of LA, longevity expert. And he says, once or twice a week on your good days, you should be doing exercises. As he put it, like you go to the gym and you do a machine or two you haven't done in a long time, right? You don't just keep dropping into your patterns. That's good for a few days a week. You do your comfort zone stuff. But then a couple days a week when you feel good, setting those new signals through the body when you feel good is the key thing there, though. All right, listen, guys. You're going to shake that out. Meet me in the seated position. It looks like some of you keep going. You do your thing. So I am going to do the strap stretching sequence. If you want to do, we did dynamic hip rotations. We did, lateral. We did circling of the hip. I'm going to go through a quick strap stretching sequence. We're almost out of time, okay? If you did want to do hip thrusts today, you're going to see wheel on Saturday, okay, or reverse plank. So really strong posterior chain. Today's kind of like a, little different style class than maybe normal. Your strap, please. This is really a beautiful stretching style. I think it's a little overdone by the average consistent yogi because it is weakening posterior chain on a lot of us, but it can help with the mind and muscle too, right? I'm going to meet you on the back. I'm going to shift gears a little bit from the active style of practice into a little bit more passive, a little bit more stretch release. I got the strap around the mound of the foot now, yogis, not deep in the arch. I want to stretch the back of the ankle and the calf. To start here, guys, I might bend the knee. Let's call it half happy baby. Okay? After a little bending of the knee, I can bring the knee a little wide. I can bring it a little across. I straighten the leg more and I pull. I might take the right hip, pull it out, push it forward for compensations. All right, I make the joke that yogis are like stretch addicts. I go into these yoga rooms and everyone just wants to stretch the whole time. I also have friends who are strength addicts. They literally haven't stretched in a year, right? I think we can all agree we need more of what we're not doing enough of. I need you to be objective about that, okay? Right leg starts to open to the right, getting the inner thigh. So there's the half moon if you didn't get it today, okay? Notice what I could do, take the strap behind the neck, then I pull here. If I open the leg more, a little bit more of that inner thigh. If I pull more, a little bit more of the hamstring. Maybe roll your left hip down, take 2 to 3 breaths. I even like to activate a little bit, yogis. I'll kind of engage everything and slowly relax more. Engage everything, slowly relax more, okay? I'll keep moving. Now think of this as your figure 4. The right leg goes to the left, 6, 12, 18 inch. I did not lift my hip. It's lengthening the outer leg from the hip. So if I lift the hip, I kind of take myself out of that tension. Turn the sole of your foot to the left to stretch the outer ankle. And then taking our big stretchy twist, right leg across. So everyone knows this sequence. I'm just kind of running through it generally here. If you want to do a dynamic instead, good awareness. Head falls to the right to stretch the neck, please. If you want the big super stretch, right hand to left foot also. So again, my right foot's across. I'm now doing this big double bind. It's a very, very big demanding stretch. Now I want you to take your time. You're going to slowly just release and switch sides here. This takes care of warrior one, or excuse me, warrior three, half moon, and our revolved moon. Basically the exact same body forms, just done a little more stretchy and tension today in the end. Okay. Left leg will go up. And again, you take a moment with a little bent knee, a little moving of the leg, just so you're not too rigid. Too often I see people like stretching and they're very kind of tense and rigid is how I see it. And be careful, yogis. Muscle memory and is not just like the strength or the contraction. There's like energetic. You tense a lot. Stress makes us tense, and then that's memory also in the body. So you're always observing your nervous system. Let's call it stress and tension versus light and loose and easy mind. Okay. There is a lot of evidence that stress is the main reason people's bodies are tight. The second part is where the leg opens. Some of you are already there. Don't forget there's kind of four parts here. The leg open, left leg inner thigh stretch is second part. The third part is before the twist, right? That's where the leg comes back up and it goes to the right. So left leg across to the right. So it's a horizontal add to stretch our outer hip, IT band, and then I turn the sole of my left foot to the right at the ankle. So that's an inversion of the ankle or a supination. But nice. Some of you are sitting up and stretching your shoulders instead, right? That's beautiful if that's what you need. And then that final part is that biggest twist of class here, yogis, with the double bind. So you can get the quad. Remember we did the hamstring, so we kind of already hit that line in a reciprocal. But some of us need quad stretching. So your left leg goes across, and then your left hand reaches out. Your head falls left for the neck. Left hand or right foot kind of behind you with bending the knee to stretch the quad. Remember the hamstring and the quadriceps are kind of like antagonist muscles. Hamstring bends the knee, quad straighten the knee. So if you notice you have trouble bending the knee, quads could be tight, or vice versa. Or trouble straightening the knee, hamstrings could be tight. So that stretching routine is big, yogis. If there's anything else you want to do here, you want to put your legs up in the air. If did a lot in your legs, hopefully you're doing some cardiovascular extended movement style of aerobic exercise when you're not in class. If you want to do a headstand, if you want to put a block under your head to kind of massage the back of your neck, if you want to do plow, swing your legs up over your body, what I'm suggesting is a minute or two in just kind of completely personal time. What's one thing you wish we did that we did not do? Can you guys tell I got up like super early today? I woke up before my alarm, and sometimes I'm a little, you know, not this awake when we start a Zoom, so might be able to tell. I've been up early and doing a lot of stuff today, so I have a little more energy sometimes. So you're finishing up the physical practice, like you're closing up the physical intentions personally here. And then just like we started, you're going to do that closing meditative passive position. So parasympathetic response. Exercise is work and applying stress. It's a lot of focus, mental and physical intensity. So, what we want to do is calm our nerves. So, we leave this class in a nice, healthy, energetic chemical state. Okay. So, what I'm going to suggest today, yogis, would be restorative bridge. I know there's a lot of you don't make my Sunday class enough. So, we did our restorative fish, our strap stretching. And now we're going to do restorative bridge. So, our hip extension, hip flexor stretch. I didn't really do like a super big, like kind of hip flexor there. So, what I'll suggest in your closing meditation is just putting the block under your hips, right? And if you want to go big, just be easy with this one. This is a big one, guys. You put the block under your lower sacrum, your coccyx, so lower butt, and then you would go here. So think about Shavasana with the hips slightly lifted. Now be easy, guys. Lengthen your core by pulling your shoulders away. The block should not be pushing your hips into your lower back. Another nice thing to stretch out my underarms and my lats and my lymphatic area. Right, both of these lymphatic vessel areas being opened here. So I'll suggest a closing meditation, kind of laying on a prop, letting your body rest for a few minutes, a recovery intention.